Hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in. Today we have with us Rishi, who's the founder of the Big Red Group. So I'm going to start off by introducing Rishi. Rishi is a graduate from the Cornell University in the US, where he majored in economics and government and competed for the Cornell varsity squash team for 4 years. He's also a graduate from Mayo College and Phillips Academy, Andover, where he won the New England champion and was named All Scholastic Athlete by the Boston Globe. He is a national level squash player and loves to explore new eateries and write short stories. He also writes blogs for dailies like the Huffington Post and the Education Times of the Times of India. He is, as I mentioned, the founder and CEO of the Big Red Group, an education firm based in India that holds various educational workshops and academic programs for students. So, welcome, Rishi. Thanks for joining the EdBrands College Fair. I'd like to start off by quickly asking you to tell us a little bit more about the programs offered by the Big Red Group and how does that help students in their profile building process?
Sure. Thank you, Ankita. Firstly, for having me here. Welcome everyone who's here in the session. Of course, Ankita sort of told you a quick background, but I'll just give a quick genesis. Of course, Ankita, I got a great opportunity to go to a top boarding school in the US called Phillips Academy, where sort of all the George Bushes and Mark Zuckerberg and all that started from, and that gave me a window to really see what amazing programs some of the top high school students in America are exposed to. My first exposure to that kind of a program was the Harvard YLC program that we now run in India called Harvard Youth Lead the Change program. It's a 7-day leadership program for young high school students. It's been developed by professors from 3 schools, the Harvard Business School, Law School, and the School of Education, and it's completely taught by young Harvard mentors who are at this point of time undergraduate students. So you really get to learn from top mentors, who have been there, done that. One big part of this program really is that you work on a social change project that you're able to showcase on the last day. It could be on mental health, it could be on sanitation, it could be on waste management, any of the social issues that the kids are really passionate about and don't know where to start. I think that's a great program for them on leadership and on social change. We have many programs, but a couple of them that I can highlight right now is also something very close to my heart called the Ivy Early Entrepreneur Program. Again, a very similar model, a 7-day program on entrepreneurship. We have 13 mentors who come and speak to the students on different topics, from ideation to market research, marketing, financial business, social entrepreneurship, and then fundraising. And out of the 13 mentors that we have 6 of them who are in Forbes 30 under 30 list. So again, all of these people have been to top colleges like MIT, Harvard, and are running current successful businesses. So again, the hope is to, again, directly hear from the horse's mouth. And at the end of 7 days, students in groups of 5 to 6 present a business project in front of these mentors. So these are sort of the 2 main programs that are upcoming in January as well. But other than that, of course, we have programs on robotics, on financial literacy, creative writing, and poetry that is coming up with a Harvard professor next summer. So interesting programs like that.
That's great. Thank you so much for highlighting all the programs you have to offer. I know you briefly mentioned about your journey through a prestigious boarding school in the US. Could you tell us a little bit more about your journey throughout your high school, telling us about the opportunities you had and how that helped you create a very strong leadership profile and eventually get you into Cornell?
Well, thank you for that question. I think, again, as I said, I was really lucky. I was something called Davis Scholar. So, of course, these boarding schools are also really expensive, $60,000 a year. And I got a full scholarship to go to that school. But the opportunity that I had in high school, and I would love to tell everyone really, is to really explore as much as you can. I have this one saying that I really love that, of course, everyone's heard, a jack of all and master of none. I always say that be a jack of all and a master of one. So for me, that really one thing was squash. Even though, I was a debater in school, I did a lot of social projects. I did everything really what a high school student can think of, but that one thing really that separated me from the herd would be squash, because I played it for India. I played the Asian Games, Commonwealth, all the World Championships and everything, and I got to play it for decent time. So I think that was my entry to an Ivy League school. But of course, other than that, it's not just one thing that gets you in. You have to have an overall perspective into things. And for whoever's joining us today, I would love to tell them that just make sure you are stepping out of your comfort zone. You are really exploring new things while you're in school, whether that's dramatics, whether that's coding, whether that's anything that you're being part of, and really take it to its final conclusion. Don't sort of leave some things. You have all the time in the world till probably ninth or 10th grade to try a few things, but then probably in 11th and 12th grade, get really serious and get after that one thing that you really feel will be worth your weight. So that's what I did, and that's what I would recommend for the students to do as well.
Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Really inspiring. And I hope a lot of students here do get a chance and the opportunities you've had a chance to go through. I also wanted to ask you, and this is a question which I get asked by a lot of my students: what does leadership mean, and what are the different kinds of opportunities other than obviously the Harvard YLC program, which allows you to showcase leadership? And how can other students, really take advantage or showcase leadership in their profile building activities while applying to college?
I think that's a great question. A lot of business gurus have tried to answer, what you just asked me. So I don't know if I'll be able to do justice in 30 seconds. But for me, other than sort of the words that have been flying around, whether finding your ikigai, or being compassionate, or having empathy, I think leadership. And by the way, there was a study that was done by Harvard Business School professor, actually, to the top 500 CEOs in the world. And when they asked about leadership, every single one of them, just to give some perspective, had a different answer to it, right? So leadership is not, in one statement, word that you can put really. But for me, it's, being part of something, and being part of that change that you want to bring about. Now, as a leader, of course, everyone wants to be leader in their schools or, in their life. But I think till the time you have a drive to do something and you can get everyone together to follow that cause, really defines a leader for me. I think in today's generation, we all want to do a lot of things, but we do something and we leave it. Coming back to my previous point, I think taking something to its conclusion, getting people on board with what you feel can be the right solution, or of course, working together with your team to understand what is the right way to move towards a particular goal. You really become a good leader through listening, through empathy, of course, and just giving it your best shot. So I think for if you have all of these two or three qualities, in my opinion, you're a good leader. And of course, sorry, the second part of your question about the Harvard Wild C program, I think how we look at it is, as I said, when you are, for all of our programs, by the way, we have kids from more than 60 cities across the country for a Harvard Wild C program or the entrepreneurship program that we run. So when you get such diverse group of kids, passionate kids who, again, as I said, want to make a change, they have all these ideas, bubbling in their mind. When you get them together and you give them that little bit of direction, magic happens. And I think, they themselves learn from different perspectives. They hear, these mentors who have made it, again, from all around the world, who have made it to Harvard from their, various life journeys. And then you really get to think a lot more, than what you have in your own little bubble. So I think that's really what helps these people to get out of their sort of comfort zone and become leaders. And then, of course, we have a 1 year of mentorship program after the 1 week really ends with students. And that mentorship really helps these students to keep that conversation going on with their mentors, keep understanding that, listen, maybe I didn't work on this project, I'm trying to do this. We have 15 mentors from Harvard, by the way. There's not just a couple of mentors who are running this program. So whether you're thinking about astrophysics or molecular biology, you have a mentor who's sort of studying that. Either it could be linguistics or anything else. So I think again, having some people who are, who think like you and some people who do not think like you at all, it all comes together and really gets the best out of you.
Thank you. So, other than leadership, I do want to share that I do get a lot of questions asked about how important is community service, while applying to colleges. And, I have encouraged a lot of my students to work on social impact projects. I wanted to hear from you as well. What are your thoughts on when, students come and ask, how important is it for their application process, and what are the different ways other than the Harvard biology program by which they can showcase impact projects on their resume while applying to colleges?
Well, I'm going to give a very stupid answer to this, in the sense that I hate when students, just ask that question that, oh, what will look good on my resume? Because again, what colleges are trying to see is that how much empathy do you have internally, and it's very hard, really. Of course, I do understand social service is not easy, right? Again, you're stepping outside your comfort zone. So I recommend everyone, to give you an example, if I'm in sports. I always, sorry, that's my dog barking a little bit, if you can hear the noise. But I have, I tell students that whether that's in sports or if it's in leadership, if it's in any of one of the topics that you're really interested in, please make sure that you focus on that one particular topic and then do social service accordingly. Right. So what I mean by that is I've got students who are really good athletes, and I tell them, listen, you can teach basketball to young students who are not from underprivileged backgrounds. And we have a friend of mine from Mayo who runs this thing called Dribble Academy, where he's teaching around 300 students from underprivileged community. If you are interested in computer science, maybe it's a good way that maybe if you're in a society, I know a student of mine who actually worked with the elderly to help them get better at computers and make sure that they understand how digital payments are made. So again, there are creative ways that you can look at social service and see what, again, you love to do. If I love teaching, okay, maybe you teach students, right? But if I really love coding, you have to figure it out, because that's what you're passionate about. If I love coding and I'm going there and teaching students maybe about coding, that will be of interest to me. But maybe if I'm doing something else, I'm going to lose interest after a point of time. So again, be passionate as to what you do and figure out a way on how you can involve, other parts of the community. And it doesn't always have to be the underprivileged, right? I think what colleges are really trying to see is that how much do you care about the outside world? Really, it doesn't always have to be people who are less fortunate, but how much are you looking externally beyond yourself and trying to make an impact one way or the other? So even if you have a business project, right? For my example, and you do really well, and you're selling it to customers, you have something going on there, that's a great project as well, and works really well even in a social scenario. So yeah.
Great. I hope everyone here did get a chance to understand and see what you had to say. Obviously, my last question would be a very vague and maybe you know um, a larger discussion at another time. But I still want to go ahead and ask, what would you say when I asked, how do students here get into their dream college? And I know this could be like a very long conversation, but maybe if you could just give us a few tips on how students here could get into their dream
Well, as
college.
I said from the beginning, be a jack of all, but a master of one. So really, I hope, and it's not easy, right? Again, it's very easy for me to say because I found that one thing I was really passionate about. We take a whole lifetime sometimes to understand what we're really passionate about. But even in your own scenario, whatever you're doing, maybe don't do 10 things, right? Maybe just do 3 things, but do them really well. I think one thing, as I said, which we always feel is that I feel young generation today is not able to take failure really well, and those are some of the questions that colleges ask you as well. Again, the real world teaches you a lot. So when you step out there and do anything in the real world, which is out of your cocoon of a school or a club, maybe get out there, whether it's a social enterprise that you want to sort of run or be a part of, or an entrepreneurship program project that you're doing. Take it to its end, really, right? Because even if you fail, you have a great story to tell, and it's all about how you get up and do something again. So, again, once again, to repeat myself, I think really focus on fewer things when you're probably a freshman in high school or a sophomore, which is grade 9 and 10. Explore a lot more things. I was in a boarding school, so we had to do everything. We didn't have a choice. And then after that, I would say really focus on those couple of things that really intrigue you. It could be literally anything, even if it's baking. I know a student of mine who was a magician, but he was a really good magician, and he wanted to do something. He had a YouTube channel. He did all of those things, and then got into a great school. So it does not matter what you're doing, but till the time you find creative ways to engage with people. You have LinkedIn, connect with people, connect with professors, connect with people like myself, and you'll be surprised how many people are there to help you. Shadow someone whom you can get all of those experiences, and then put your heart and soul into that one activity, and I'm sure you'll get into a dream college. And if not, it's not the end of the world. I know not many people want to hear it, because when I was a teenager, I really was that, okay, I want to get into Harvard, and that's it. I don't want to do anything else. So in the end, I ended up going to Harvard, and I hated it in the sense that I really didn't like the campus. I thought maybe Columbia is the place for me. I visited the campus, I didn't like it, and in the end, I fell in love with Cornell. So again, maybe the things you have, what you think your dream college is not really your dream college. And always go to a college which wants you, right? If you get scholarship at a college, if a college is really accepting you, they know that they want you. And I think, end of the day, it all works out.
That was great. Thank you so much, Rishi, for sharing your valuable insights with a lot of students here. I'm sure everyone did get a chance to hear you. And so, for everyone here, if you haven't got a chance, you can find Rishi or other people from the Big Red Group's team in the lounge at the table there. So, in the meantime, I will let you all go. And thank you so much once again for attending the session. Thanks, Rishi, once again.
Thank you so much, guys. And again, I know we have put a couple of links on the chat as well. So if you are looking for any program, whether that's in leadership, entrepreneurship, robotics, or financial, personal finance, please go to the Big Red Group and see. Would love to connect with you guys. My email, I'm just gonna type in again. It's the Big Red Rishi at thebigredgroup.com. Feel free to email me as well, and hopefully I can be in touch with a lot of you. So thank you once again, Ankita, for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
See you.